Hey everyone, I'm Kevin Knocke, and I'm joined once again by special guest host Alex Goldenboy Mendez. And Alex, I'm pitching you a softball this week. All
Thanks,
right,
man.
We're going to talk about console FPS esports going forward in 2016. And let's begin with a tournament that's underway right now, the Gears of War Pro League. So Gears has been trying to reestablish themselves back in the console FPS scene. We have 8 of the top teams that are competing over a season for $50,000 right now.
Yeah, it's actually some pretty exciting stuff, and good news for the Gears of War community at large. Right now, though, Swarm is the #1 team in the league, sitting at 6-0. They look near unstoppable, Kevin. A dominant force. Really looking forward to seeing those guys continue throughout the season. But there's also Team Envious, formerly known as Fury. They're actually the winners of Hypefestation, but they ended up coming into the Pro League with a lot of hype. They got picked up by Envy, and a lot of people thought this team is going to destroy. Not the case, though. They're currently sitting at 2nd place in the league. Still doing very good, don't get me wrong. But the team that everyone is looking out for now is Onslaught. They ended up 3-0ing Envious in what was a slobber knocker matchup. I know you love that word.
I do.
Honestly,
it was
a great matchup without a doubt. And Pro League has been pretty entertaining.
So who's actually playing on these teams now? Or is this the old guard, the old Gears of War pros, or are these new players that are up and coming?
I would say it's a healthy mixture, right? You have some guys who were around in the Gears 1 and 2 days, like MBN, for example. They were actually around back in the old MLG days, and they're still competing to this day, right? But then you have a team like Vex, who they kind of established themselves more so in Gears 3. As far as like fresh faces, there are a couple, but nothing that stand out to me immediately. But overall, though, it's actually a healthy mix.
That's awesome. All right, so let's talk about another game that's trying to make a big comeback right now, and that's the Halo franchise. So Halo 5 obviously just came out, and we found out that we have this awesome, huge Halo Championship Series, which is now going to be over $1.5 million in prizes. Already $500,000 has been crowdfunded through the sale of rec packs in the game.
Yep.
We know there's going to be 16 teams that are going to be competing for this giant prize pool next year. It looks amazing. So what do we got coming up for Halo, man?
Honestly, a lot of exciting stuff for Halo. I mean, one thing's for certain, this is the I guess the biggest prize pool in the history of competitive Halo. So these players right now that are competing for it, they're just mind blown, right? And who knows, that prize pool can become even larger, right? So that's very exciting. But you know what, though, for the most part, all quiet is pretty much around the Halo community. They're just waiting for news, right? They're waiting for news. They want to know what's going on. But I think we can expect to see some of the familiar faces still competing. Evil Geniuses, Team Liquid, Optic Gaming, the newly christened Team Envious.
Right.
So Envy kind of get involved in a lot of different sports now, which is really cool. It's going to be an exciting season for sure.
So what do players think of Halo 5? Because in Halo 4 in the Reach days, there were some concerns from players saying this isn't the same Halo that we used to know. Mechanics have changed so dramatically. How are people taking to Halo 5?
Well, 343 actually went to great lengths to try and bring back classic arena gameplay. In doing so, I do feel like they actually accomplished that goal. The game plays fantastically. There are some, issues, like a couple players complaining about aiming tweaks, right? Things that like the casual player is not really going to see. But for the most part, it's actually fantastic, right? Everyone's really digging it. 343 believes in the assault rifle Magnum start versus the tried and true BR starts, and they've actually brought us some pretty fun gameplay and a lot of variety. You're starting to see a lot more weapons get picked up on the field, light rifles, carbines, whatever works for the situation. So it's very exciting stuff. Again, I'm going to keep using that term because it is exciting, especially for a console fan. I could not be more happy with the way things are going.
That's right, and you'll be even happier than with the last tournament series that we'll talk about, the $3 million Call of Duty World League, of course. We already know a few basic details about this. We know that Activision is starting up a brand new esports company. We know there's going to be multiple divisions that allow pro teams to compete, but yet teams that are up and coming to advance their way through the bracket make it into this big tournament series. So looks like a really cool set. What can we expect from Call of Duty?
Well, Kevin, just last week, as a matter of fact, Activision ended up announcing that the qualifiers for the CWL will be taking place, and they ended up throwing out a huge list of some of the, who's who in competitive Call of Duty, all the way from North America to Australia, right? You had names like Scumpy, Merc, Clayster, Swanee, Buzzo, like just so many great players from different regions, right? So it's very exciting stuff. And actually, one that was very interesting was the inclusion of of retired pro player Nadeshot.
That's right. I was going to ask you about that.
He ended up getting a bid because he was competing for all the way until COD Champs, right? So he ended up making it that far to COD Champs. So it only made sense, right, that he would get that inclusion there. Whether or not he comes back to compete, that's a whole different, kind of ordeal. But Activision did announce, though, that there will be opportunities for players to actually qualify without being a pro player. So I really hope we get to see some up-and-coming talent make their name and get into CWL.
Well, there you have it, folks. Big news coming up from the world of console FPS esports.